Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. Let's turn on the lights, the ring light to be specific, and let's take a look at the sets that we have. So we have two sets from the One Piece theme, including, most importantly, the Going Merry pirate ship. We have the Lego Creator Castle, the subway car, as well as the Italian Riviera. And here's a better look at that. So let me set up a poll and you guys will decide which one I build first. So I'll just set up that poll very shortly. In the meantime, here's a look at all the sets. There's so many of them. So many. And here's a look at the other castle builds. So that's a bit more in scale, because everything else is just so ginormous from this angle. I'm gonna wait for people to come in. So in what order do I present the choices? Well, we have multiple options. We can go by set number. We could go by size. I think I'll just go by set number just to be fair. So yeah, I think I'll do that. 21359. But wait, we only get 4 choices here. So I'll actually do the 4 largest ones. Or actually I'll combine the One Piece sets together and so One Piece, Riviera, Castle, Train. Okay. All right, so we'll do things that way. Next up, we have the 31168. Creator, I'll just call it Creator Castle, or Creator 3-in-1 Castle, but it does have a longer name. And then the next one is going to be 75637/9 One Piece Circus or Pirate Ship. Character limits are annoying. And finally, 76321. That's the train right here. Spider-Man subway. All right, the poll is live. And in the meantime, I'll go look at the survey and see what did people vote for over there. So let's check that out. Got a few more responses. We do have So these sets are quite popular. We also have some popular themes as well, and some of the giveaway, some of the people have participated already in the giveaway, and there's still room to participate. So if you have not participated yet, you still have a chance. Just make sure to sign up before it's too late, and the link is in the description of this live stream. All right. I'm gonna wait for a few more minutes before we make a decision on what we're gonna end up building. I do want to get some votes from the audience, so don't be shy. If you're not signed in, please sign in so you're able to vote. You can use any Google account that you want, as long as you're over 16. That's the new rules for YouTube in order to have accounts. Otherwise, ask a parent or guardian. So, in the meantime, while waiting for that, let's just take a look at the box arts for the sets. Well, we'll start with this one since it's right in front of me. So it's the Spider-Man versus Doc Ock subway scene. I do like this guy like appearing on the train. It makes the set appear larger than it really is. It's good for marketing purposes. The blurred background here is nice because it gives the impression of movement, so it feels like the train is moving. And the train itself looks pretty realistic, pretty accurate to the source material. And we see here Spider-Man without his mask. So if you don't know who he is, this might expose him. But probably by now, most people know who Spider-Man is. If you don't, well, you will find out pretty quickly. Here's a look at the back of the box with more information or more details about the set, and basically see some of those transparent pieces used to great effect here to basically give the impression of like plowing through a building. That's very nice indeed. And we see here you can take off the roofs or different parts of the roof. So that's an interesting set right there. And this is one of the smaller and cheaper ones, relatively speaking. And it looks like we're going to get both heads for Spider-Man because here he is shown with the usual head that he has. So we're going to get both probably in this set. So that's that. We also have the Creator 3-in-1 Medieval Horse Knight Castle. This is a nice set right here. So very interesting. I do like the king right here. That's a nice minifigure to get, and I was hoping to get this piece for a while. Actually, this reminds me of something I need to get from my storage, so I'm going to step out for a moment to get it. It is relevant to this set, and I will be back shortly. Yeah. I am back, and I brought this. So this is a Lego horse. It's a molded horse that you would find in Lego City, Lego Icons, and many other themes. But we don't get molded horses in the Creator Castle. We instead get these brick-built horses. And there's a debate online on which one of these is better. So the brick-built ones are more honest. They're more like what Lego usually does. That's what people who favor these horses like to say. But then on the other hand, these ones are more realistic, and especially for the head, like look at this head versus this head. It's not even a fair comparison. But which one do you prefer? Let me know in the comments down below. or in the chat if you're watching this live. So yeah, that's something I brought up just to have that comparison ready. So this is the main build. It's a pretty nice castle right there. Yeah, I like the color scheme used here. It gives a bit of a contrast, a bit of a rustic feel. Minifigures look nice. And we do see here some alternative builds. So this is a 3-in-1 set. You can basically take this apart when you're done with it, or you just want to reconfigure it, or maybe you're going to buy 3 of them. You have 3 different models. It's always up to you. But yeah, you can take this apart and rebuild it into this type of medieval structure right here. And you turn the horses into what looks like a sheep. So that's pretty funny. Or you could make a jousting arena. Jousting is like an old form of fighting. Basically, 2 people ride on horses and they basically like fight with these sticks. And notice that the horses here actually have different colors. So here it's red and blue, and here it's white and blue. So even those pieces, they move them around, because here, for example, that red piece is used for the shield. So that's what you get with the Creator 3-in-1, lots of variety, and you just move the pieces around. And even the minifigures, like they swap the pieces around just to tell you there's lots of options that you have. So this is another very good contender. I've not built it yet, obviously, but it looks like a good set to build. And here's a look at the back of the box with additional views of the 3 different builds. So basically this can be opened up and it's going to look like this. This is the castle, and here's a look at it from the back. And here's the jousting arena with the same angle as what is shown at the front of the box. This is basically a facade, or mostly a facade from what I can see here. So the camera-friendly angle is going to be this side, and then from the back, I don't know if it's going to look that good. You might need to buy 2 copies of the set or use some of the remaining parts to try to close that off. So that is the castle, and I'll just remove it out of frame so we can take a look at the Italian Riviera. And this thing looks good despite the black box, just because it's so colorful. I mean, just look at the colors on this thing. This thing looks nice. It just looks so lively. You have like some rock work, a crab crawling up, some fish being sold right here, probably just brought in by the fisherman. Yeah, this lady is gonna drive her scooter right into the water. That's always funny. And I guess the official explanation is that she's parking her scooter right next to the water. That's what some people are saying online, at least. So yeah, lots of nice scenery here, lots of nice details, and I'm pretty excited to build this one. We also have the pirate ship. This one took me a while to get. Like, I wanted to get this since August 1st. I know a lot of you want me to build this one, but every time I go to the Lego store, it's not available, and online you have to wait 60 days for it to ship. But finally today I was able to get it. So depending on how the votes go, I might end up building this set, and looks to be a very nice set indeed. It does say here in the fine print that the model does not float, but here's a look at the minifigures that we get. So quite an interesting selection right there, although I do wish for a set of this size and price they included more minifigures, to be honest. And here is a smaller one-piece set, the circus, with these minifigures, including notably Buggy the Clown. So how are we doing in terms of the vote? Let's take a look. We have to start building at some point. I do see 1 vote for the Creator Castle, and I see someone else has just joined the stream, so welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Let's see, are we going to have a tie between 2 sets, or is it going to be a unanimous agreement for the castle? Let's see. I'll give people 15 more seconds to vote. 15 more seconds. So what's it going to be? Pirate ship, circus tent, the Italian Riviera, this train, or the castle, which is the front runner. This one right here. Let's see. All right, so it looks like it's going to be the castle, unless some last minute votes come in. So you have until I clear the rest of the boxes from this table. If you're watching and you're hesitant, you don't know which way to vote, you have a few more seconds left. But yeah, I think it's going to be the castle for tonight, according to what you selected. And don't worry, the rest of the builds are not going anywhere. I'll just build them after I build the castle. So, hello to you. Thank you for joining in the chat. So, this is going to be a very fun build. I guess the next thing to think about is which build of the castle do I end up choosing. I think I'll go with the main build first, just because that's the one that uses all the pieces. It's the one that's most complete. So I think we'll go with that, unless someone strongly prefers one of the other alternatives, in which case, speak up right now. Speak now or forever hold your peace. We've already looked at the front of the box with this set. Oh, and by the way, these sets that are in the corner, I'm not hiding them. These are part of the giveaway. So in case you have not been to my live streams before, I will be giving away these sets plus these poly bags, depending on the participation in the poll that is mentioned in the description. So check that out if you have not already. You can basically vote on the sets that I should get or build and in what order. And it's based on those results that I base my purchasing decisions. And then based on the poll in the live chat, which ones do I build first after I have already bought them? All right, so with that being said, I don't see the results of the poll changing. So we still have the Creator Castle as being the #1 set to build. So let's go with it. And we're going to open the box shortly and take a look at what we got inside. I hope there's no sticker sheet. There's probably no sticker sheet with most of the Creator sets, most of them, but let's find out. All right, let's open this box. And thankfully this one has the tapes and not the push tabs. That would have been ridiculous. So the next question I like to ask is, how full is the box? Is it an empty box or is it full? So let's take a look. I'll turn on the flash just to make it easier to see. And we see here that the box is about, it's actually about like 2/3 full or something like that, because there's lots of empty space in this box, meaning this box could have been a lot thinner or a lot smaller just in general, in terms of like height and width. Whoa, lots of stuff right there. I will put the box to the side just because there's not enough space to put it in front of the camera. So I will be referring to it into the 3D view to build this up without the instructions. And the box is going to be over there. I might bring it back if I need to point out something. But for now, let's just organize the bags. And I'll tell you what I'll do with the bags in a moment. And when you watch my regular videos, all this stuff is sped up. But since I'm doing it live, I don't have a time machine, at least not yet. So you get to enjoy the behind the scenes with me. Hopefully this is not too noisy. So in this box, or in this set, we get 11 numbered bags, numbered from 1 to 11, with 11 being very small. And we also get these instructions, which I will not be using. I'll just show them to you right now. So this is quite a thick instruction booklet because it's going to contain paper instructions for all 3 builds. A lot of people who like the Creator 3-in-1 sets do enjoy the paper instructions, even though I don't. But still, this is nice for people who do use the instructions and do not want to use a screen. You do have the option to build all 3 of them using the paper instructions. So basically, here's the main build. There's a QR code that you can scan for points. Then there's these other instruction manuals that are a lot thinner, so you can actually tell the difference in difficulty and complexity when comparing the main model to the rest. I'm going to just check the first pages to see if there's any useful information on LEGO Castle in general. Most of the time there isn't for the sets that are not 18+, and indeed there is none. It just tells you use the brick separator, open bag 1, and start building. So very likely there's going to be nothing at the end either, other than just a completed picture of the main build. And I'm guessing it's going to be the same with the others, but I'll just check it for... Oh yeah, for the others, it basically tells you just open all the bags and figure it out instead of like the open it bag by bag like the main build. So building these smaller builds actually could be more complicated without the instructions, because you have to figure it out basically. Here's the part list. It is available on lego.com, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it right now. And LEGO Creator sets generally do not have very large numbers of new parts or recolors. There might be 1 or 2 pieces that's new. The crown of the king, which is best shown here. So this is probably a new piece or an update to an existing piece, because we have not gotten this crown in a while. I know because I was trying to make a custom minifigure with a crown and I could not find that crown anywhere in the recent past. So yeah, it's good to get that now. So we'll put all these instructions away. We will not be using them, as I said before. I'm going to be building the set only relying on the 3D view, starting with bag 1. I just gotta put the bags away, and I'll actually tell you how I do that. So first of all, I'll put the instructions back in the sleeve. Be careful because you do not want to stick the instructions to this adhesive. You might damage them. And this is important if you want to resell the instructions later or just use them yourself. So just be careful with that. And I learned this lesson the hard way with one of the Ninjago sets, the Ninjago workshops from earlier this year. Okay, so the instructions, we can put them away. And now for the rest of the bags, what I'll do is I'll put them in this box in reverse order. So I'll put basically bag 11 in the bag first. Then I'll put 10, 9, and so on. And the reason why I do this is so that when I'm done with a bag, I just reach into the box and get the next bag. It's just very convenient to do things that way. All right. So, where's bag 1? I'll put that away. I'll bring it back. Is this the classic space helmet? No, it's the motorcycle one. That's a bit disappointing. I was really hoping to get the classic space helmet in the light bluish gray color, because we have not gotten it in the new light bluish gray, I think, ever, or maybe only in one set, and it's pretty rare. This is a brick separator, pretty standard stuff, and it's what you get in most of the sets. In orange, in some other sets, you can get it in teal. So that's pretty fun, but I'll be using the orange brick separator for this one. So it looks like we got one of the minifigures was completely kitted out. So that's always nice to see, even though it's not a collectible minifigure. But yeah, we got the silver legs, silver arms, although there's no side printing or dual molding. But that's very rare to get in LEGO Creator, which is mostly more about the builds than minifigures. And in fact, these are the very first LEGO Creator sets of 2025 to include minifigures since last year. So LEGO Creator has moved away from having lots of minifigure-based sets, like what they used to do with like those small shops and stuff like that, and they're moving now more into animals and realistic builds or just display items much more, like the flamingo, which I built without the instructions earlier this year. I do think, like, in terms of aesthetics, that is the right way to go, because we already get lots of those small builds in LEGO City, but I do wish the variety of minifigures that we used to get. This minifigure has a sword as well, and a shield, both. So yeah, like they gave this minifigure plenty of accessories, and I'm happy about that. So yeah, here's our first minifigure. Very well done. And for this theme, for the target audience of kids, this is excellent. Is there an alternative expression? No. So no alternative expression. I guess that's another thing they could have added, but as it is, it's not bad. Yeah, we'll look at all the minifigures at the end, but while you're here, we can also take a quick look at them now. Yeah, so nice first minifigure. Let's get started with the build. And if you do notice any very exciting or interesting pieces to you, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be new for this month, but if you just see anything exciting or interesting, feel free to leave a comment in the chat. It's free. All right, so I'm just gonna make sure that I'm ready to do the stream. Turn on the do not disturb to make sure no notifications come in to interrupt. And now we can start. This is dark azure, by the way, which is different from blue. Here they are next to each other, and in person, the difference is a lot larger than on camera. And for those of you who just joined the stream, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you're having a wonderful day, morning, evening, whatever time zone you happen to be in. And if you're wondering why there's some funky colors or strange combinations, it's because these pieces need to be reused for the other builds. That's why sometimes things are not picture perfect for a particular build. It's because we're going to reuse these pieces to make something totally different later. So it's not a big deal when it comes to this theme in particular, in my opinion. It's part of the fun of LEGO Creator. Lots of gray pieces in this build, very useful for your own custom creations. A surprising number of large pieces like this, these panel pieces, which LEGO used a lot back in the good old days. You'd have like these big specialized pieces to have a build completed very quickly, especially for very young kids. Now they don't really do these as much. So it's surprising to me to see 5 of these pieces in just the first bag. We have some studs on the side construction already. That's a nice technique right there. And I'm going to play some medieval themed music to go along with the theme. So give me a moment to do that. Of course, I have to skip the ads as usual. And let me know if it's too quiet or too loud. Bag 1 gives us the first part of the castle, this corner right here, as well as a female horse knight. I also got these extra pieces, and as usual, I'll be putting them away in a small bag like this so that I can use them later if I need to. Let's move on to bag number 2. This looks a bit more exciting than bag 1 because we're going to be building a mechanism known as portcullis, if I remember that right. Where's bag 2? It's right here. Put the minifig to the side. And this build, actually, I don't think we'll need it right away, so we can put that to the side as well. Just open bag 2. I see a shield here, but no minifigure. I do like the colors used here for the base. A nice combination of blues, greens, a bit of tan as well. It's very realistic to what you would find in the real world, where it's not just always one color everywhere instead of variety. Actually, I'm going to build a bunch of these hinged parts so that the castle can be moved around. And with these, you got to be careful to put them in the right orientation. So this can flip this way, but it cannot go the other way. So just keep that in mind when putting these pieces in their place. For example, here we want to have this flip this way, not the other way. Same thing here. You can start to see the formation right here. So this is going to be a grand entrance. This is going to look nice when it's done. Yeah, now with this on top, it's going to be a bit more stable. And we'll do the same thing here very shortly. Oops. That's what happens when you're not careful. But no worries, it's Lego. It comes back together very quickly. As long as you don't miss any pieces. Yeah, this goes here. This goes here. Don't think I dropped any pieces. Oh, this. There we go. Yeah, something to make things a bit more exciting. If I was a kid, I don't know if I would have had the patience to build this big castle. I would probably build like 1 or 2 or 3 bags just to give the idea of a castle, then I'll go play with the minifigures. There's 11 bags in this thing, so. And this one is rated for 9+. Yeah, when I was 9, I would definitely not have the patience to build this whole thing. Not in one shot, anyway. But maybe if there's multiple kids and they're building the different components and then they put them all together, I think that could be successful. But then they'd have to use the app for that because the paper instructions are for the 3 builds and you don't get multiple instruction booklets for each specific build, and that might be too confusing, so I understand why Lego does not do that. I cannot continue building from here because I need to add stuff from the bottom because we're always building bottom up. So that's why I took a pause on adding stuff here. Now we're going to build what I believe is known as a portcullis. I hope I'm saying that right, but I know that is the idea of what this is. Or actually, maybe this is just like a regular drawbridge door or gate and not the... So portcullis, I know it's the one where it goes like up and down, like this, but this one is just going to be a simple gate that you open and close, I think, like this. Thankfully, the Technic pins are not like in weird color that's totally out of place. Thankfully, they were able to use the ones that actually make sense. I don't know if these have existed in this color before, so they're not recolors specifically for this set, but it just so happens to be that they make sense. I hope LEGO recolors those blue Technic pins as well. And basically use the blue ones only when the build is blue or close enough to blue. At least for the adult sets, at least for the 18+ sets. And we have these chains, but we'll attach them later just so that they don't get in the way. And this goes here. So yeah, now you see like it's gonna have a mechanism like this. And these tiles, I guess they're just so that the thing does not overextend. And there's no friction, so it's going to be very easy to raise and lower this. It's interesting how this piece has basically, yeah, I guess it has the same height. It's just an optical illusion because these colors are different. Yeah, so these are the same height. I thought for a moment there that they were different. But that wouldn't make too much sense, right? Okay, there we go. I'm wondering why there are no masonry bricks so far. I think it would have looked a lot better with some masonry bricks, right? Those are the ones that have like the brick pattern. But we're not done with the build, so it's too early to make that judgment. It's just interesting that they have not shown up so far. Might as well build this while we're here. Basically, the castle will have a shield at the door just to advertise itself. Yeah, that looks nice. This build is largely, but not entirely symmetrical. Now we basically have to figure out the mechanism for this thing. I don't think it's going to be too complicated, but again, with Lego Technic, you always want to make sure to do things in the right order, otherwise you have to disassemble, reassemble everything, as is tradition. So as always, start from the middle and go out, or start from one side and go to the other, but be very careful about that side being completely separate or independent. So you have this axle right here. If you don't know the length of an axle, you can always compare it with a known piece. So here, for example, we see that this is a 4 long axle because it's the same as a 1x4 plate in terms of length. So yeah, I think we'll start with this. And this is going to attach to those. This is one part of the mechanism. It looks to be fairly independent from everything else. It just sits on top of basically pieces that we don't have yet, but they will be there. Right here, and same thing on the other side. Oops. Sometimes a piece can be a bit stubborn. The other part of the mechanism is this. And this needs to be set up to interact with the gear, basically. So this is going to be kind of a ratchet. It's easier to spin in this direction than in this direction, although you can still force it if you really want to. Or you can lift this I guess we'll try that again once it's completed, but that's the basic idea. Wrong pieces. Be sure not to mix up this piece with this piece. This one is angled and this one is not, so they're similar but not identical pieces. Oh, we have some sprue marks. So I'll make them all point towards the back, because I want the front to be the camera-friendly side, as is tradition. I have one more of these somewhere. It seems that I'm missing one of these pieces, or I just lost somewhere. Oh, actually, we don't need one here, so this could go here, and this is technically an extra. Okay, so I was not missing anything after all. Here we're using a telescope piece to hold the flame. Some nice part usage right there, but not super novel. I've seen this many times before or something similar to it. Now it's time to attach the chains and actually see this mechanism in action. The idea is that we have to basically feed this through. And we can just attach this over here. And same thing on this side. Make it fit through this hole, basically. You can use gravity to your advantage, because this is not a very heavy build. There we go. All right, now these get attached to here, and let's test out the mechanism right away. Or actually, one more thing. We'll add this. Okay, now let's try opening the door, or rather closing the door. So yeah, that's how it closes, and then this is going to hold it in place. There's a bit of an angle. Bit of an angle, and these pieces are not pressed together very well, or they can come apart relatively easily. Yeah, you cannot really hold it like this unless you, I don't know if there's a way to hold it like this, but I guess for play purposes it's good enough. And then when you want to open it very quickly, you just lift this. At least that's how I thought it worked. Yeah, that's how it's a bit stuck, but that's the idea. So the idea is you lock it like this, then unlock. There we go. Okay, it's a nice little play feature. The execution, I think, could be improved a little bit, but the idea is nice. So Bag 2 builds the front face of the castle with a very nice shield at the front, as well as this mechanism to close and open the door. So that's very fun to see right there, although the execution could be improved slightly. Now it's time to move on to bag number 3. How are we liking the build so far? What's your favorite part? especially the people who voted for the castle. How are you liking the build so far? Does it meet your expectations? Does it exceed your expectations? Please let us know. I'd love to hear from you. I see some foliage. I'm gonna get another minifigure in this bag. And this looks to be a male knight. Oh, I actually recognize this guy from Lego City. The exact same minifigure with the exact same scar. You've seen this guy in some of the Lego City construction sets. And now he's masquerading as a knight. Or maybe it's his evil brother. Evil twin brother. I guess we'll never know. That's a big spear. Big spear for this guy. Speak softly and carry a big spear. And he does have this helmet. Sadly, no hairpiece. And same thing for the female knight. There was a time when LEGO would always give a hairpiece to the characters that have helmets, but it looks like they forgot about that recently. Or maybe it's just part of their recent cost cutting. Honestly, just give us the hairpieces. For a set of this size and price, I would expect them. This looks like it's going to be similar to what we did in bag 1. Looks to be very similar, in fact, but just with the foliage. This is a piece I have not seen before. I've seen like the inverted version of this, and we've seen that here, for example, but I've not seen the right side up version of this. I'm not sure if this is new or not. Probably is not new. It could be new. Interesting piece. These walls go up very quickly because a Lego piece is a Lego piece, whether it's a big piece like this one or a 1x1. It takes about the same time to attach each one to the main build. So that's why with the larger pieces, you see the results a lot faster. With the smaller pieces, you get to build more details and make things a bit more elegant. So there's always a balancing act. One more of those studs not on top pieces. Yes, this is actually wrong. Gotta put this here. Wait, now we're looking from the inside looking out, so I want the thing to narrow. So this is the right way to do it. And here's what that looks like from the outside, a very narrow slit. And this is similar to what you would find in an actual castle from back in the good old days. those other pieces first. As there's a slight difference from the other build that we did in bag 1. This one doesn't have that tower, but instead it has this foliage stuff. And I'll restart the music. Almost done here. We just need to build up this tree. Certainly a weird tree. Bag 3 gives us a male knight with a pretty big spear, as well as one of the corners of the castle with this funky looking tree along one part of it. Also got this barrel right here. Who wants to guess what comes next? Anybody? That's right, it's bag 4. So it looks like we're not going to be building any part of the castle in the next floor. We're going to be building something else. Oh, this looks like a pretty funny dude. Got too many figures in bag 4, interestingly enough. Oh, this is a new shield. I've not seen this before. It looks like there's some snake faction. I wonder if this is related to the Ninjago Serpentine in any way. Maybe it's a hidden reference. I know LEGO loves to do hidden references in sets. Here's a better look at the shield. We have seen this in the previous bags, but here's a better look at it, including the gold outline right there. It's very reflective, very nice. It's just a flat shield, it's not rounded. But this one is rounded, as you can see right here. If I can get it to focus. Just slightly, subtly rounded, like not too rounded, but you get the idea. And then here, in bag 4, we also have this box right here, which contains 2 capes, not one, but 2 capes for each of these 2 elite minifigures. This is good stuff. This is what I'm talking about. So there is no dual molding for the legs, no side printing. We do have capes and lots of accessories. So not bad for a kid set, especially in the LEGO Creator theme that's much more focused on the builds compared to the minifigures. The king, I believe, is a new headpiece. I've not seen this particular head before. I think it's new. Of course, let's put on his cape first. But before I do that, here's a look at the back printing before it gets covered up by the cape. And this is not the same as what we saw with the other regular minifigures. So you see here, this is a regular minifigure, well, regular quote unquote, with like this particular style. You see that the back printing is different between the two. And the cape is the same from either side, so it doesn't really matter which way I put it on. All right, there we go. And we have crowned our king. Yeah, that's a nice piece to get. Surprisingly, the color of the hair and the color of the beard is not the same, but I guess that's true in real life for some people. Although I don't know if that was the intention. Probably not. So this guy is right-handed. He wields his sword with great joy. So he's probably demonstrating instead of fighting. Yeah, that's a nice minifigure to get, and it does remind me a bit of one of the collectible minifigures that LEGO did a while back. That's a really nice king, very regal, and definitely makes sense to have this guy as part of your LEGO medieval layout. They should have given us a king with a bunch of the other sets. Even the Lion Knight's castle did not have a king. It had a queen, but not a king, if I remember correctly. So finally, we got a king. Long overdue. But I'm happy that we got him. And then we have this serpentine guy, and here's a look at the printing here on the legs and the torso. The back printing is nice as well with a silver added to it. This time I won't forget the cape. This guy also has two expressions. I think this guy was part of Build a Minifigure. I do remember seeing this face before. Probably at the Build a Minifigure station. This guy is very well protected. This guy is actually a lefty. And here he is holding his shield. I do hope we get like one or two more of these shields in the set. It's always good to have these. And I hope that all these pieces become available on Pick-a-Brick and at the LEGO store at the Build a Minifigure station. So that people who don't want a big castle, they just want the figures, can get the figures easily and for a reasonable price. And LEGO is just selling more figures, so like after a few months, I think they should do that. People are going to get the castle, they already bought the castle, so make the figures more available to people. So it looks like from these pieces we're going to be building the horses, the brick built horses, and then we'll compare them with the molded horses from LEGO City and LEGO Icons, and we'll see which one is better in real life, because you can't really judge something until you build it. A bunch of funky colors in here that are not apparent on the outside. There's this as well. I don't know if this is going to be part of the horse or just part of the accessories. Actually, no, it's part of, not neither. It's going to be attached at the end, or close to the end. Right now we're actually building the underside of the horses. and do a lot of guessing because it's not possible to see things from all the angles. So there's going to be some trial and error involved. But that's okay. Very interesting the way they put these horses. Even if you don't like the brick-built horses, at least respect the techniques and learn from them. Like even if you don't like the specific aesthetic, which I do understand if you prefer the molded horses, but with these ones you learn a lot more. With this you just have a built horse, it's ready to go, which I guess is good in some contexts, but with these horses you actually build them yourself, and I do think there's value in that, especially if you want to design your own custom living things at a small scale. The legs do remind me of the Fortnite supply llama. They're very reminiscent of that. Yeah, even the use of this angled piece, which was originally designed to position minifigures as part of the Lego superheroes collectible minifigures from a couple years ago. It's not a bad look at all. Like that angle is pretty good. It looks like this attaches this way, but I'm not sure. Not sure about that yet. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's how it is. Same thing here. That's a nice change of pace from just building the gray walls of the castle. It's good that they inserted this here and not leave it till the end. Although, of course, if you do want to leave the horses to the end, you always can, because once you get the set, you don't have to build it in order bag 1, bag 2, bag 3. You can build it in whatever order you like. I am happy that this is the default option. looks like this gets attached here. The same thing for this one. We'll probably figure out one of them and then do the others. I think this one's a little bit easier to figure out just because the colors are a bit more contrasting. The same build, but the colors are easier to see. The black can be hard to see sometimes. Looks like this is going to be a tile right here. Actually, this piece cannot go here. So it must be some other piece that goes there. By the same logic, this piece cannot go here because it's needed with this piece to form the front. So what other options are we left with? Well, then it has to be this. That's the only other piece that has the same color and fits the location. Then this is attached to some piece or pieces in blue. And this attaches to them somehow. Actually, it's done this way. And this needs to go here to match with this one. I feel like that might be too high. Well, actually, we have this piece. Well, fits perfectly. Very nice. So now we'll basically repeat the same thing over here. And this just fits right here. Again, fits perfectly. And we need something to clip onto the I feel like this is the best option. Yeah, because otherwise this is not going to work. Yeah, that just makes the most sense. Okay, so this is what the horse looks like before getting covered up, which will happen very soon. Oh, do get a hairpiece for this guy. At least one of them gets a hairpiece. Good. Although that should be for all the minifigures, not just one of them. But I'll take it. I'll take it. One is better than none. Okay. Getting closer and closer to finishing these guys. Need a jumper plate here. And then this goes here. And it, again, attaches perfectly. That just makes a lot of sense. This kind of reminds me of Blacktron, like the black and yellow color scheme. So maybe it's a hidden reference to that as well. Okay, that looks nice. we build the heads. These are going to be a bit weird. I think the compromise position, or the in-between position between completely fully molded versus brick built, maybe just print the eyes or something. Like if they had printed the eyes, I would be much more in favor of these horses. Like at least something, or maybe mold part of the head. You don't really need to mold the head, but just if they just printed the eyes, I think that would have made a big difference. The same thing for a lot of the brick built stuff that they do, like the Harry Potter and Hagrid, like the way they did it, like completely brick built. I respect the effort, but if they printed just a few pieces, not a lot, just a few, it would really make it look a lot more realistic, in my opinion. So basically, this is the horse head that they want us to believe. If you just show me this out of context, I would not think that this is the head of a horse. This is the head of a horse. This is not quite the head of a horse. But if they just printed an eye here, then it would be much more believable. And it could be the same print for left, right, and it's actually the same color used for both horses. So just print one piece. So is this a giveaway? Yes, there is a giveaway. If you sign up in the link in the description, then and you enter your YouTube username and your email, later I will be doing a random I'll be doing a random draw from all the entries, and then some of the people will be winning some sets, including, for example, this Lego Star Wars set, which retired. It's a Razor Crest Microfighter with a very nice minifigure that has arm printing, Din Djarin, or the Mandalorian, if you know him. And I'm also giving away this Lego City set. How many people are in the draw? Well, that depends. Every day more and more people participate, so I don't know how many people are going to be in the draw at the end. But you do have a realistic chance. It's higher than winning the lottery, for example, but again, it's not guaranteed. And you don't have to pay anything, you don't have to buy anything. You just have to click the link and just choose your favorite Lego sets and your favorite Lego theme, your favorite Lego themes, 3 themes, and you enter your information to win. And of course, you have to be eligible to win. So 18 plus, etc. The full details are in the link. And you have to be living somewhere reasonably close to where I can ship the sets without costing an arm and a leg. So if you live in Antarctica, you would not be eligible, for example, because it costs like $1,000 to send anything there. I'm in Australia. Yeah, I have never sent anything to Australia, so I don't know. Like, I will, if you end up winning, and I'm not sure who is going to end up winning yet, but if you do end up winning, I will look into the cost of sending things there. And if it's within reason, I will definitely send you the items if you're one. But if it costs more to send the item than the actual cost of the item, then it would actually be more economical to buy the item locally. So we'll have to see about that. No guarantees. Yeah, these are the 2 horse heads. The black one I think is more convincing to me, even though they're the exact same pieces. And let's just attach them. Oops. You have to position the horses just right or they might fall over. Basically, we just need to, wrong way. We just need to add some stuff on the sides, specifically these parts right here. And then you do have like these nice tiles used for decoration. And you gotta use the right orientation. So this one would not fit here. You gotta use the ones from this side. So that's why when you open the bags, don't mix them up. Yeah, that's a nice look right there. This one is for this side. There are 3 links. Which one do I press? Let me check. So in the description, there's only 1 link for this particular live stream. So I don't know what other links you're seeing, but it's basically forms.gle/bou, etc. It's a Google form. All right, so the horses are very, very close to being done. There's only one thing remaining, and that's the flags. So basically, at the rear of each horse, we're going to add these pieces right here. Bag 4 builds these 2 brick-built horses and gives us the King and Serpentine or Serpent faction minifigures. And only this guy gets an extra hairpiece. And while I'm here, for the people watching the live stream, let's do a comparison between a molded horse from Lego Icons or Lego City versus a brick-built horse. So each one of these has advantages and disadvantages. But basically it depends on whether you're looking for something that's more for display. These are good for play as well. Like they have nice articulation. Even this guy like cannot articulate as much. But this one is closer to the core of the Lego brand, which is brick building everything. For a very long time, Lego's been doing brick built animals, including just back in the 1960s and 70s, just regular bricks on top of bricks when things were a lot simpler. So Lego does have a long history of these brick-built animals. But at the same time, a lot of people think that these guys look nicer. So it's a reasonable debate to have which one is better. But I do think that this one is more in the theme of Lego Creator. But what they could have done, if they just printed the eyes, I think that would have been a solution or like a compromise in between the two. Just print the eyes in a very nice way, a print similar to this one, for example. Then it would look more like a cartoon horse. So it's still not going to look like this, obviously, if you just print the eyes, but it'll give it a little bit more of a personality. That's my opinion, at least. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments or in the chat if you have strong feelings about this. And while we're here, let's also take the minifigures and put them in the horses. Yeah, so basically there's not enough space to sit, so they're going to stand. So that is by design. You want to make sure not to damage the cape. So yeah, that's what the minifigure would look like in here. That's a very good look right there. And having the minifigure with the face, it adds a lot of personality to this whole setup. So yeah, that looks pretty nice. And it looks like something like a child would put together. No disrespect to the Lego designer, but this looks like something a kid would put together if they don't have a proper horse. Even though there's lots of interesting building techniques and studs on the side construction, this is actually a sophisticated build and not something that's super simple, but it looks simple in the end. So it depends on what you're looking for. So for the people who hate these horses, I do understand. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. If you do love the horses, then yeah, good for you. So we'll set these to the side and move on to bag 5. It's good for Lego to try different things, to try new things and not always repeat the same thing again and again and again. There are many, many sets where you can get these horses. So if you want this, or you can even buy them online separately if you want. So Lego is not taking these away. These are going to stay for a long, long time. But it's nice for Lego to try something different. Because who knows, maybe people will learn something. Even if you don't like these horses, you will learn a lot by building them, and you could use what you learned to build other stuff. Bag 5 is next. And one thing that I do like about the build is that now we're on bag 5, and we still don't need all the other parts of the build. So you could build this completely independently. Like 4 people can build the first 4 bags, and a 5th person could build bag 5, and you could build all of them in parallel. As long as you have the digital instructions, or if you're not using the instructions, like I am. So that's very interesting to think about. It looks like there's going to be a lot more interior detail in this particular bag. I'm going to skip the ad. Again, no blue Technic pins. That's a win for me. We have an interesting table with a red and green motif reminding me of the holidays. We're actually going to attach the foods to here. So this is going to be a bright green apple that's attached to this leaf, upside down. That's pretty funny. And some cherries. And finally, this piece of poultry or chicken. Yeah, very interesting table. Although the apple is comically oversized. I feel like this piece doesn't want to hold on very well, but oh yeah. Yeah, it just wants to fall off. Don't know why. Okay. All right. And I'm building the interior detail first, just because when I build the walls, I'll have less access to this space. Now we're going to build the throne. Looks like a fancy throne. Seem to get more and more ads all the time. Another ad? All right, welcome JLO the One. I just saw your chat. So here is the throne. It looks very comfortable. Very nice place to sit for the king, of course. He's gonna have a small distance to the table. He's not gonna sit right at the table, but he's gonna be right here. And he's the one who gets the chicken, at least by default. I guess that fits with the traditions of the time. For whatever reason, like this cup is here, although it doesn't really make sense to put it here. I'll just put it here so it's not loose. But this should actually be used by a minifigure. I guess they don't have enough space to put it on the table, so they just put it here. Just to remind kids not to throw it away, I guess. Okay, now we can start to build the walls and the exteriors, and we will get to the curtains in due course. Another one of these hinge mechanisms. For those of you who just joined the live stream, welcome and thank you so much for joining. I'm currently building bag 5 of the new LEGO Creator 3-in-1 castle. I like how all the building phases are completely independent. I built a bunch of stuff right here, and now I'm building bag 5 and it's completely separate from all of those. So that's very interesting to see. Now we basically have to go to the other side to fill things up, but before we do that, let's just take care of the curtains real quick. These are done very simply, using just 3 pieces each, just like this. Yeah, 3 pieces, you have a curtain, and you just plug it right here. It's pretty smart. I've seen other curtains that are more complicated recently, like the Jane Austen tribute set, and those were nice, but just look at the simplicity of these. Good stuff right there. Okay, now all we need to do is build this wall, and we'll be done. This is going to be a connection point to another part of the castle. Lots of palisade bricks. Palisade bricks are the bricks that look like this. They remind me of Lego Western. Should have another round brick piece somewhere around here. Yeah, there we go. restart the music. Bag 5 builds the throne room of the castle, the nice throne next to this table, which is done in very bright red. We also get some nice curtains, which are done in a very smart way. I'm thinking about whether or not to do bag 6. It's starting to get late. It depends on the size. If it's small, then I'll do it. If it's large and complex, then I might not. So I feel like I'm about halfway through the build. I don't know if I'll be able to finish the entire build. Looks like bag 6 is gonna actually continue this part. Let's see the size of it. Let's think about this. So we have like 2 walls, 2.5 walls. Yeah, so there's not like 1,000 people watching, let's be honest right now. So I think I'll call it a night for now. It's a little bit earlier than I was expecting, but I just prefer to work on this with my full energy. So I think we'll wrap it up here for tonight. I'll give you, as usual, a few seconds to type in any final comments that you may have, and then we will resume tomorrow. I might build some of the castle offline, or I might build some of the other sets offline, and then we'll resume tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. UTC. So if you have any final comments on this set or about the channel overall, leave them in the chat basically before we wrap up. Actually, let's just look at what we built so far in the previous 5 bags, just to give a quick recap before we head out for the night. So this is what we did in bag 5. In bag 4, we built the horses. In bag 3, we built this corner right here with the foliage. In bag 2, we did the main entrance with the door. And in bag 1, we did this other corner with the tower. So essentially, this is what we have so far, these components. And so far, it's all been independent, but that's going to change with bag 6 that attaches stuff to this part. Okay, so it looks like there are no final comments to be had, so let's just wrap it up here. Goodbye, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in, and good luck for the giveaway for those of you who are eligible and chose to participate. Bye for now.